City Council at Dr. Similescu's encouragement. If you would please join me in a prayer and a salute to our flag. If you would please stand while we do that. Let's pray together. God, our Father in heaven, we're so blessed, Lord, to live here in Durant, to know that you're in our presence during this meeting. And God, we pray that you would bless the city, make it prosperous, bless every family, every business, every school. Lord, especially bless the young people who are graduating from school and from college and moving on and making big changes in their lives, and bless their families as well as they help them go through those steps. Lord, we just pray that the work we do here tonight will benefit the city of Durant, its citizens, and that the city will continue to grow and you will continue to bless each of us. Thank you so much for that. Thank you most of all for Jesus who died for us and is our Savior. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. If you would please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Shear.
Here.
Councilmember Fuller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Similescu.
Here.
Mayor Tucker.
Here. We have a quorum. All the council is present tonight. First order of business and presentations is a proclamation declaring May. Do we have someone here to present the proclamation to? No. The proclamation is declaring May of 2024 as National City, Towns, and Villages Month. And I want to enter that proclamation into the official record, please.
Can I say
Please do.
about this one? This is with the National League of Cities, of which the city of Durant is a member.
No.
Sorry. Not used to that. This proclamation is for the National League of Cities, of which the city of Durant is a member. Also, as OML received, which is Oklahoma Municipal League, received an award in Washington, D.C. for this a couple of months ago that I was at the meeting, because the state of Oklahoma is one of the founding cities for National League of Cities. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you for that. Okay, next under order of business is item number 1, which is the consent items. There are several tonight. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent items, or does any need to be removed for discussion and consideration separately?
I would like to remove 1E.
1E. Okay. Any others? Okay, for the remainder of the consent items, do I hear a motion to approve all the consent items except for 1E? Ma'am, if you'd let us get to it, we'll get to it quickly. As quickly as we can. That's not a consent item. We'll get to that just as quickly as we can. Are there any other consent items that do I hear a motion to approve the remaining consent items?
Motion to approve consent items excluding E.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Shear.
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Similescu.
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Now we'll consider consent item 1E, which is consider approval of a mayoral recommendation to appoint Scott Dewald to the Durant Industrial Authority Board.
All right, my concern with this is not the person himself. Obviously, I think he's qualified. I think the issue is having family members serving on the same board. And I think that it may, in this case, may not be an issue, but I think that can sometimes look like nepotism, or you know, if certain things come up and there's some, you know, what's the word, conflicts of interest or something like that, that may come up as a, you know, as a issue when they vote on certain things.
In this instance, we've talked about this some today as well, and we've researched the statute, and it does address this situation specifically in that in an instance where it's an authority board that is a non-paid position, and this is a non-paid position. I also serve on the DIA board. It is a non-paid position. And they're not buying things from related entities or related businesses, then according to the statute, there's no conflict. But I understand your concern.
Okay. Like I said, I just think from that standpoint, I think that we need to be careful, even though they aren't potentially doing that, but they could be potentially swayed by differences of opinion based on being family relations, and I think that's just something that needs to be considered, at least going forward, if not now, because I think it's just a little bit, could have a slippery slope effect.
Well, in addition, then the next time a recommendation comes, it may not fit into the same parameters as this instance does, and people may not be able to discern between the different appointments. And I want to make that very clear that this particular appointment does not have a legal challenge as far as being qualified because they're a family relation. But other boards may, so that needs to be very well known as well. Any other comments, questions? I share in your concern, but I also know Mr. Dewald, and I think he would serve well on the board. So I would move that we approve this appointment for Scott Dewald to the DIE board.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for item number 1E on the consent agenda. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
No.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
No.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is information items, financial statements for March of 2024, and a sales tax report for April 2024. Mr. Sand. Is your microphone on?
Is it on? Your microphone. See if it's on.
It's on now. Hello, hello?
Yeah,
there you go.
now
Yeah.
we've got you.
Yeah, everybody have the hard copy of this report. The first three is our kind of like summary for three funds. The first fund is general fund, and year to date we completed 75% of our fiscal year. And you can see I highlight on the right side, I highlight the blue. That means that our revenue is higher than the 75%, which means year to date. And the first two is sales tax and use tax. We are fortunate that we budget more conservative, so it's higher than what we budgeted. It's about 88%. And the overall, our revenue is about, not including the beginning fund balance, is higher. It's about 6.02 higher than the the year to date, the 75%. But if we add it to the fund balance, it's about 6.5 lower. And our expense, you will see that at the bottom line, there's one, this period is negative 326,000. That is because in March, we had 3 payroll pay period. Normally, the 1 year we have we pay every 2 weeks. So there's the 2 months, we will have the 3 payroll pay periods. So it will show on our financial is the negative number, but you can see the year to date is not the negative number. The reason it's not negative is our expense. Our each department expenditure is the average is about 66.57%. So it's lower than what we should be 75%. It's lower about 8.43%. This is our general fund. And the capital improvement, again, this
And
is.
could I say one thing about this before you move on to that? So just for the folks that are reading this, when you look down at the bottom line on total revenues and other financing sources, 75% is the mark for the end of this month. And it looks like we came in under budget on revenue and other sources. But the reason for that is we didn't spend the money. So the difference is where we were going to transfer in from other places to cover those expenses. We didn't have those expenses, so we didn't have to transfer the money in. So it's less than the 75%, but that's a good thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
Thank you, Ann.
And then the capital improvement, again, I said this is the information that show that what kind of the project we're still going now, and then we have some, the grant money, and then we have some loan money we can spend on. This is just information. And the third one is DCUA. This is Utility Authority. This is our revenue authority. And then you can see that the water revenue is not that good. Well, I cannot say not good, but it's supposed to be about 75%, but right now it's 69%, 69.20. So it's a little bit lower, and overall that is about 75.69. So it's about the 75%. And this one I want to point out is we have the interest earning. That is the one that we put some few months ago. The interest rate is pretty good, so we put some money that into the CD, and now we start receiving their interest. And the same, the expense is lower than what it should be. It's right now it's 75%, but our department, they spend about 57%. So it's really lower than what we project they should spend during that time. So the expense is 62.43%. And the same, this period is negative because the payroll pay period, but the year to date is 1.9 million over. And about the sales tax, this month's sales tax is it's the normal that is low because the people start paying the income tax, and so they spend more conservative. So we are expecting this month the sales tax will be low. So this is what we have, 1.6 million, and the same. The first two is the money that we can use. The rest of it we just receiving and then transfer to the different entity or the authority. And the 10-year. The next page is for the 10 years 1% sales tax. You will see that it's negative. It's negative 6.34 compared to the prior year. But the prior year, just like Mayor last time mentioned, the prior year the revenue is really good. It's really good. So this one I'm not really worried about. It's a negative, and you can see the percentage change for the year is 1.27. Still not flat yet. Not flat. And I believe this is April is the one that it will go down, and in May and June I think it will come up again. Is there any question?
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it. Next, under item 4 on the agenda, administration. Item 4A is to consider award of bid for 2024 street improvement project. That's item number 1 under A, and then also number 2 is to consider approval of a contract between the city and J&L Paving.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Hightower.
Good evening, council. We went out for bids on doing some milling and overlaying and striping the streets. We had some money left over in our budget for that, and we have we picked West University to 49th. There's some curbs that we have issue with right there. We're going to put in new curbs there, and we're going to pave mill and overlay to 49th, and then from 49th to Main Street south. This all came under a bid. We only had one bidder. It came up a total of $456,089.20. But that is mill and overlay, the curbs being done, and the striping.
Is this the outfit that did work for us last year? or
Yes,
no?
sir, it's,
It
did
is?
Rodeo Road
Okay.
and all
They did
those.
good work on that.
Yes.
They did.
Seemed like,
No issues with them. Any questions or comments for Mr. Hightower?
We're not gonna have another university fiasco.
No,
That's what you're
sir.
saying.
He already promised me that. He said he'll have everybody he owns out there.
what's the timeline on that? When do you think?
He thinks that the curbs may take a couple of weeks because of the drying and everything. Mill and overlay will be 2 weeks.
Is that the area where people were driving in, where there's
Where
like
the
between
dirt,
the sidewalk
where
and
it's,
the,
yes, where the
mud.
sidewalk is, and then there was dirt, and then the road, we're gonna put in, there'll be valley curbs there.
Okay. Oh.
But, yeah, we're gonna put those in, so,
that road sure needs paving, so that's good. A lot of people use it. They'll be, as long as it gets done quickly, they'll be thankful.
this company works very quickly.
Yeah, no, I remember, cause
Yeah.
they've done the other stuff, and usually milling and overlaying doesn't take that long, so
Right.
it should be pretty good. Alright.
Comments or questions? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve 4A, number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item 4A, number 1. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes, next is item 4A, number 2, consider of approval of a contract. So he's described basically the terms for the contract. Is this one that needs to be reviewed by our council, or is it the same contract we always use?
It's similar contract to what's typically used.
Okay, but have you had a chance to review it
Yes.
as of yet?
Yep.
Okay, good. So that
this-
contract's been reviewed.
Well, let me make sure. Is that the one?
The basic one that we
Yes.
used on the mill and overlay from last year, yes.
Based on that, I'll make a motion that we approve item number 4A, number 2, which is to approve the contract between the city and J&L Paving.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item number
Thank y'all.
4B. Thank you, sir. Is to consider to consider an offer from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation in the amount of $18,280 to purchase property along Highway 78 project and take possible action. Who's going to describe that?
Yeah.
We can make Ron L. do it. He's here. Right, yeah.
This is an easement on Highway 78 where they're gonna widen First Street and Gerlach.
I
We
think
don't-
it's a taking, not an easement, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But it's less than 6,000 square feet.
yes. It's not a lot of,
It's real skinny and a
Small.
little bit
a
long.
little bit long and skinny. Yes, it's right in front of the old Highway Patrol station is where it's gonna be.
And our options are either to take their offer or to let them take us to court for an eminent domain lawsuit.
Exactly,
That's so it's option 1 or option 2.
yeah.
Comments or questions? Does our council have a recommendation on this one?
Oh, I think that's exactly what the procedure is, that we either accept their offer, sometimes there's room for negotiation, but when they've had it surveyed and appraised, we take their offer or we hold out and wait for the
Roll the dice.
eminent domain suit.
So that comes out to about $3 a square foot, if I do my math right, which seems like a pretty decent price for what it is that we're giving up. So, any more questions? Mr. Hightower? This will help pay for that water line
Relocation,
on
yeah.
top of the hill, right?
Yeah.
Little tiny
Yeah,
bit
just a
of it.
little bit of it.
All right, no further comments, and I'll make a motion we approve item 4B, which is to accept the offer from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Next is consider approval of an amendment to the City of Durant Employee Handbook to include hiring, training, and educational reimbursements.
Yes. This amendment would allow the city to recoup some hiring, training, and educational expenses if the employee terminates employment before the end of 2 years. In this, it specifies $500 or more. That is very rare that we have more than $500 in expense. I can count on one hand in the past 2 years how many we have had to pay for. But one reason why we're doing this is because there are new entry-level driver training minimum requirements, which is a 4-week class before you can get your CDL Class A or Class B. And then the class is $1,400 and the CDL. And so far our experience has been some of our employees leave right after receiving their CDL.
Get their CDL and take
Yes.
another job. Would this apply at all to public safety? I'm thinking Cleat Academy and things like that. I don't know if it would apply or not. No.
Only within the first year.
1 year only. Okay.
Once they're in the local.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other comments or questions on? That's not the only thing. Is that the only thing to amend on this item?
On this one, there's
Okay.
a second one.
Gotcha.
Seems straightforward.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve 4C, or I'm sorry, yeah, 4C.
Yep.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item 4C. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 4D. Consider approval of an amendment to the City of Durant Employee Handbook to include a cell phone policy. We don't have one now.
We have no cell phone policy
Oh, my.
at this time. So we have created a cell phone policy. It will identify those positions that need a cell phone, whether it be a stipend or a city-issued cell phone, along with an agreement that you sign once you get that stipend or city-issued cell phone.
And if you break it, you bought it. That kind of thing.
Yes, that is
Okay.
included in the agreement.
Comments or questions? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve 4D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 4D. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 4E,
Thank
which
you,
is
Brandon.
discussion, consideration, and possible action for approval of a resolution 2024-07 authorizing the city manager to represent the city as an authorized representative for grant-related matters. Thank you.
Yes, this is kind of just a housekeeping item. It's a requirement for any CDBG-related funds, and a requirement for their OK grant system. We have to, anytime we change it, before we had to change it for an interim city manager. Now that our city manager is back, we just need to have a new one to replace that one.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I move for approval on item number 4E to approve the city manager as an authorized representative.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item 4E. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Item number F is a long item. I considered having the Vice Mayor read this for us, but he politely declined.
If you want me, I can do it.
Please.
All right, so 4F is the U.S. Department of Transportation DOT 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A grant funding request to develop a comprehensive safety action plan to identify road and safety deficiencies, including all necessary items to improve safety transportation throughout Durant, with the intent to prevent deaths and serious injuries on roads and streets involving all roadway users I guess number 1 on that is discussion, consideration, and possible action to consider approval and support of 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All grant application for funding to develop a comprehensive safety action plan.
Okay. No. So this is something that council actually approved last year for an application, but unfortunately the application was never submitted. It is extremely competitive. However, their requirements are that, this is odd to talk about, is that you have a high fatality rate. They consider a high fatality rate at 17 persons per 100,000. Durant is actually 28.4. So we're in that bracket that we should hopefully get approved. We don't have one, and it is required to apply for future funding through DOT.
And this grant is to build a plan. It's to get a plan. It's not actually.
Correct. This is just to do the safety.
Lay out the things that need to be done.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Who will be doing this particular plan? Are we going to contract it out, or is it going to be an in-house deal?
We've contracted it out.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
How long does this plan take to get done? What are we looking at?
Any ideas?
At least 18 months. It's going to require public involvement as well, so we'll have to coordinate all those meetings ahead of time.
So 12 to 18 months, you think?
At least 18 months.
At least, okay.
We have to collect all data and do find assessments on not just, so this plan isn't just for streets, it's also for pedestrians.
Right. Sidewalks
It's
too.
everything. Yeah. It's
Everybody that uses the roadway.
everything. Yeah.
Everything that moves in the city.
Yes. And it's one is required within the last 5 years to apply for any implementation or construction grants.
So the benefit of having a plan is it allows you to start getting other funds to start implementing improvements to streets and things to try to
Sidewalks.
get some of these.
Is this like a perpetual type of grant program, or does it expire?
As of right now, it's perpetual.
Okay.
Very good.
No reason to do 18 months of work and then they'll be like, hey, it's out. So I just want to make sure that's the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? We're just on item number 1 here. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve item F1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item F1. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 2, discussion, consideration, and possible action to consider approval of a resolution R 2024-08 in support of this grant application to develop this comprehensive safety action plan and commit for the required 20% project match.
And this is again, last year we had already approved this, so it is in the budget, but we need to have an updated resolution with this year and the program name.
Do you have down what the match was?
Yes, it's $51,030. It's 20%. It's an 80-20 grant.
More questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I move for approval of item F2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item F3, and this will be an authorization for mayor, vice mayor, or city manager to sign all the related application documents for this 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All grant submission. So that's anything to add to that?
No, it's just covering our bases. The final application due date on this is August 29th. I know a lot of people go out of town during the summer, and so if we have all 3 on there, we're just covering our bases.
Makes sense to me. I move for approval of item number F3.
Second.
We We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 4G, and we're going to take no action on item 4G tonight. There are a couple of things on here, three things on here tonight that we're not going to take action on. They're just not quite ready. Next is item 4H. Also, we're taking no action on that. These are both amendments to city code, and one was an amendment to an ordinance and a city code, and they're not quite ready to be presented. So next is item 4I, discussion, consideration, and possible action on a rezone request for property located at 301 North 16th Avenue.
Okay, so Reed is at a training this week,
Right.
so he is not here. I do know that the Planning Commission voted unanimously in support of this item.
And what this is a home, I think, or a property that's zoned R1, which is single-family residence, that they're going to convert into a child care facility, which would require a C1 zoning. And public meetings have been held by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was no challenges there, and the committee approved or recommended approval unanimously to the city council. Any questions or comments on this?
I believe this was the old senior center building.
Yes, it is.
Any other comments or questions on this property? Hearing none, I'll move for approval on item number 4I.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 4I. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 4J, discussion, consideration, and possible action on a rezone and replat request for property located at 4332 North Washington Avenue. And for the council, if you didn't get a chance to look into this, this is the Stakowski property. As you recall, is being split by family members, but it didn't quite meet the minimum standards for a replat or lot split. So they've gone back and surveyed and renegotiated the property lines and brought that back for approval. It has passed through the planning and zoning with a unanimous recommendation to approve this rezone and replat for this property for the Stakowski family. Did I leave anything out, Drew? We have some of the planning and zoning committee here. Any questions or comments on that property? Can you show the part where it's surveyed, where they can see where the actual roads are going in, or how they're dividing it up
I was going to say,
on the
I didn't,
screen?
you
No,
can't
that's
see it
not
real
it.
clear.
It's on a different page. Yeah. Keep going.
No, it's too big.
Anyway, it's kind of long and thin, parts of it, and then parts of it are not. Here we go. So here's the property, and that'll meet the minimum front requirements, I think, is where we were challenged, as I recall, having access across the front to the.
There was also something about, they have to exchange properties and all this other stuff. All that's been squared away now. It's not all convoluted, I assume.
Well, that'll be the requirement, right?
All that's been squared away. Remember, there was some exchanging of properties and all kinds of things.
Speak to the legality of what the family has done. We're simply looking at the division of the plat here, and it meets city
Okay.
requirements.
That's
So,
fine.
yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll move for approval of item number 4J.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 4J. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next is item 4K, discussion, consideration, possible action on a replat request for property located 175 feet north of the intersection at San Angelo Lane and North Washington Avenue, and this is the Earthman Dyer property. And I want to point out in reading, hold right there, back down. It says that this property owned, right, I'm in the analysis paragraph, that's a typo. It says it's 2.6 acres in total. It's actually 4.6 acres in total. You'll see where that makes sense here in a minute. So scroll on down if you would and show the survey again. Here we go. This is basically how the property is to be divided, right down the middle, north and south. So you'll see on the north it's a 2.2 something acre lot, and the south is also a 2.2 something acre lot. So obviously that's more than what the paragraph related.
Do we know if the intention is to make this driveway go all the way through the property to that back private road?
So, Councilwoman Fuller, I don't think that isn't the intent. However, and I did have a discussion with one of the property owners in this matter. I don't think a 30-foot access easement or an access easement across a platted lot is appropriate. Because while these property owners may not intend to utilize it in that manner, if these property owners divest themselves of this property to someone else, then that easement is there for use by a subsequent property owner. I think my recommendation would be, and I think these property owners may just mean that they just intend to put a driveway and at the edges of each of their property for them to collectively use. If they want to do that, I think that's okay. But I don't think the access easement is necessary, and I think that gives problems in a platted area. So my recommendation would be if the landowners consent to approve the plat contingent upon the removal of the 30-foot access easement. There's nothing that prohibits the landowners from one putting a driveway on the north side of their property and the other one putting a driveway on the south side of their property and using it as they see fit.
I think they're wanting to remove that 30-foot easement because it's just going to be two lots with single-family homes on each side. There's no development, and they don't want to develop.
Well, when it becomes
We
a public
don't-
easement,
yeah.
that's when the problem develops, and we would rather that not develop into a problem.
And both lots meet the requirement that they abut a public street. So
Right.
there's really not necessary for an
good.
easement. Either one of them could come off of Washington if they needed to, rather than using sort of a single adjoining driveway. But there's no necessity there for an easement that goes all the way through the property.
So will this need to go back through planning and zoning, or can we make that amendment here?
I think to the extent that the property owners are okay with that, the council could make the recommendation that
You okay, David? You okay?
that
Okay,
it
they're
be
sitting right there, so.
that it be approved contingent upon the removal of the easement, and then they could just bring that back to
Okay.
city staff without the easement
Does that create a
notated
challenge
on
for
the
planning and
plat.
zoning? No? Okay, so we're all, so with that amendment, removal of the roadway easement through the midst of that property, I would move that we approve item 4K.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes. Next, item number 4L, we're going to take no action on tonight. Item number 4M, we'll take no action on tonight. So next, we'll bring up item number 4N. Consider approval of ordinance O-2024-01, amending Title III Administration Competitive Bidding Requirements. I'll spare you the rest of that. I think you can read it on the screen. And I think the city manager will speak to this, but I think she's trying to bring the city of Durant more in line with what the state of Oklahoma has in terms of bidding requirements.
Yes. Right now, the state statute is anything over 50,000 materials and supplies has to be bid. What our ordinance or the city's ordinance says right now is we have to get 3 quotes for anything from $5,000 to $29,999. Anything over $30,000 has to be bid, because when I asked what my spending, authority was, they said $50,000. Yet we have to bid anything over 30. So it's really tying the hands of departments to get equipment. I mean, it's hard enough right now, even after, I hate to keep bringing up COVID, but hard, to get materials and supplies, and you really can't buy a whole lot for $5,000 that we need. So I would really just like for this, I think it mirrors what the state law is.
It really just kind of took out a middle ground of this sort of you go out for some quotes that was sort of the middle ground between not doing anything and open bidding, and it's not required by statute to do that. I think there was probably some good reason at the time that council may have adopted that policy, but it is cumbersome for staff.
I don't know through an audit that we've ever had a challenge with this. This isn't a problem area for the city operationally. This is turned into a spending a lot of time and effort on something that's really not paying us much.
Well,
benefit.
ultimately, the staff still has to act within their budget,
right,
regardless of.
There's that.
And that council sets that.
Yeah. Seems like unnecessary red tape.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So, comments? Any other comments or questions? I would move then that we approve item number 4N.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes.
Motion for section 2, the emergency clause.
Oh, right. Now we'll make another motion now to approve the emergency. I want to declare an emergency for this approval and this amendment for ordinance O 2024-01.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 4N2. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll pause the city council meeting. I don't know what Cindy has queued up, but. All right. At this time, we'll call to order a meeting of the Durant City Utilities Authority, and the clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Here.
Trustee Shear,
Here.
Trustee Fuller,
Here.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Here.
Chairman Tucker.
Here. So, tonight, there are actually things to consider.
Utilities did something.
Finally. So this is great. So, item 1A is consider approval of regular minutes from the last meeting, April 9th. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 1A. The clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes. Nothing was removed from the consent agenda, and there are no information items. So, under administration, paragraph 4, item A is to consider approval of a quote from Automatic Engineering for variable frequency drive at high service, pump station number 4. Mr. Hightower.
Smallwood will be up here also,
All
in
right.
case I mess up. We had a variable speed drive that went down up at our high service pump station.
Where is this?
Garlack Drive, right north of the John Deere house.
Okay.
That's the critical pumping station that pumps all the water
Everything.
to town. So this one particular one was put in 2005. It's
Probably got your money's worth out of it.
got a little bit of money's worth. We tried to fix it with several attempts, but we couldn't. Meanwhile, while that one went out, we had switched to our number 3 pump's motor went out, so we switched to number 3 variable speed drive with number 4, and then number 3 variable speed drive went out also.
Domino.
And it was about 15 years old. Not quite as old as the first one, but anyway. We went out for bids. We have a bid for $55,000 from Automatic Engineering. That is installation and everything with a 6-year warranty.
Now, was there another bid that was a little cheaper, or is it not comparable?
Well, it didn't include the installation
Okay.
and some other, the freight and some of the other.
So it wasn't really comparable, it was just the
Right,
pump
it was,
itself.
it was in the ballpark, but it didn't have everything.
Okay. Comments or questions on the pump? I think we need one.
Definitely.
I make a motion to approve item 4A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 4A. The clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes. Item number 4B, thank you, gentlemen. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a consent order between the Durant City Utilities Authority and the Department of Environmental Quality, case number 24-087. I think you all have a copy of it, and I hope you're already familiar with it. If you're not, then you can quickly become familiar with it. And this is a consent order, and it is not it's not technically optional for us as a city, if you understand what I'm saying. So they do expect us to respond.
Right.
Any questions or comments about the consent order or what is in it?
I make a motion to approve 4B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 4B. Clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes. Being no new business for the Utilities Authority, I would make a motion that we adjourn the meeting for tonight.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the Utilities Authority. The clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes. At this time, I will call to order a meeting of the Durant Airport Authority. The clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Here.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Here.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Here.
Chairman Tucker.
Here. On this agenda, there's only a couple of items. They're consent items, and there are approval of minutes of a regular meeting, April 9th, and minutes of a special meeting on May the 6th. Does anyone wish to have one of those items removed from the consent agenda? I move for approval of item 1A and 1B.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes, there are no other items on the agenda to come before the Airport Authority tonight, so I move for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the Airport Authority meeting for tonight. Clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Shear,
Yes.
Trustee Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Simulescu,
Yes.
Chairman Tucker.
Yes, now we're back in the City Council meeting. We're down to item number 5. Is there any new business to come before the City Council tonight? Hearing none, I would move for adjournment of the Durant City Council meeting tonight.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Shear,
Yes.
Councilmember Fuller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Simulescu,
Yes.
Mayor Tucker.
Yes, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much for being here.